Keep up the great work. Great show.
No doubt. All right, 10 seconds.
You already know, man. It's Deion Dawkins, and you listening to the Real Deal Sports Show on the Beat 105.5.
Rochester's home for hip hop and R&B. It's the B1055. George, the Red Man, was here. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he just got dropped out for a bit. So I tell you what, in the meantime and in between time, how about I just put on something like this right here and talk to Rochester and around the world. How y'all feel? I want to shout out to Kobe Bryant. Yeah, I mean, may he rest in peace. 4 years ago, yesterday, believe he lost his life alongside his daughter and what was it, 7 other passengers?
Yes, backspin. I'm back.
Right. All right, there he is, the Red Man.
Yeah,
I was wondering what happened to you, my brother.
Yeah. Hit the wrong button, Brad. I knocked my own self out on that one.
All right, well, you back. Ladies and gentlemen, the Red Man Real Deal Sports Show right here on the Beat 105.5.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Hey, everybody makes mistakes, and we get it going on. Welcome to Real Deal Sports Show, coming to you live from WLGZ HD2, the Beat 105.5, based out of Rochester, New York. But please subscribe to us, listen to us on YouTube, subscribe to this YouTube station, and we have a brand new website. RealDealSportsShow.com. RealDealSportsShow.com. Check out the brand new website. Looks great. Let us know your think. You got suggestion box, the whole comments, the whole 9 yards. RealDealSportsShow.com. Check us out each week. Check out the website. Check us out each week. We're broadcasting live from the Rock Palm Brokers studio. Hey, Sammy and the crew got great deals. Get your significant other or loved ones some great gifts for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is only less than 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away. So stop by Rock Palm Brokers, 559 State Street. Stop in and see Sammy and the crew for all the great deals. They have expanded new jewelry, new items coming in on a daily basis. Stop over there and check them out at Rock Palm Brokers. Yes, indeed. We dedicate the show to the Buffalo 10 as always. Each week, Buffalo 10. We salute you in power. We never forget what happened on May 14th, 2022, and we'll never forget that day. And also, we'll never forget January 26th, 2020. That was the day that we lost way too soon a sports legend by the name of Kobe Bryant. And yesterday, it's hard to believe that it's been 4 years Kobe Bryant has been gone from us, taken from us in that tragic airplane accident. I remember being on my way headed to the Super Bowl. If you're watching on podcast, I have the jersey on of the Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers back in 2020 in Miami. I was in the BWI airport when the bartender there at the restaurant that said, "Hey, you a sports fan?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you know Kobe Bryant passed?" I said, "Kobe, wait a minute, Kobe Bryant? No, I didn't know that. Where are you getting that from?" He said, "It's on my phone. It just popped up on my phone." I said, "Nah." I said, "Don't believe everything that's on your phone, because everything on the phone nowadays isn't right." And I said, if that was true, if that kind of story was true, you look at all these TV monitors. You got all these different channels on, Fox, ESPN, all these different sports channels and news channels. I said, if something like that happened, they would break in and tell us something of that nature would have taken place. And don't you know, as soon as that last word about they would break in and tell us, all of a sudden 3 of the channels just went blank and said breaking news, breaking news. I said, "Oh, wait a minute. Hey, my man, you might be onto something here. Look what just happened." And sure enough, the TVs came on and they showed the hill and the smoke and all of that from out there. I believe it was Calabasas, California. out there, they showed it and told us the tragic news of the helicopter crash, and that most likely all the people on that helicopter, including Kobe's daughter and all the other people on there, died in that helicopter crash. So I remember where it's one of those moments where you remember where you were at when you get certain news or certain things happen in your life, something big or something monumentous, and something like that. I remember just like 9/11. Remember where I was at that time at Edison Tech High School making presentations for DeVry University. But Kobe Bryant, we salute you. We salute you, Kobe. And Luka and them last night with 73 points for the Dallas Mavericks. Devin Booker scoring 62 last night. Looked like the guys were feeling, the NBA players were feeling your spirit, Kobe, last night. A lot of high-scoring games. We're going to get to the NBA a little bit later on in the show. But right now, we're going to get back to that Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs review before we get into the new games coming up this weekend, championship weekend, divisional weekend. Once again, Sean McDermott, Buffalo Bills head coach, showed that he's just not a champion head coach. Sean McDermott is a winning head coach. He can get you to the playoffs, but when you get to that, you need to win one game. The man, leave him at home, man. This cat, he had a 13-second lead. If you can't win with 13 seconds left in a playoff game, well, how do you expect to win other tight football games? And that's so be the story last year against the Cincinnati Bengals in Orchard Park, and then this year against the Kansas City Chiefs in Orchard Park. Once again, you're at home and you lose. And here's where he lost the game for me. End of the game, you're driving down the field. You're at the 2-minute warning. You come out, you got 2 more plays. You're 2nd and 9. You go to the end zone. I don't have a problem with Josh Allen throwing the ball deep. Unfortunately, Chris Jones had pushed Dawkins off, Deion, and that shows you how big Chris Jones is, about 6'8". That dude is mad. He pushed Deion Dawkins like he was a piece of paper. Pushed him right back into Josh Allen. And so Josh had to throw the ball a little off kilter, and the ball ended up landing short because Khalil Shakir was open in the end zone. I don't mind you taking that shot, but on 3rd and 9, get the ball to on the crossing pattern. Diggs was wide open on the crossing pattern. Latavius Murray or James Cook, or go with the bubble screen like you have been going for the most of the game. Get the ball to Cook, run the ball, throw the ball to Cook, throw that crossing pattern to Diggs, pick up 5-6 yards, maybe the first down. If you don't get the first down, it's 4th and 3, 4th and 2, 4th and 1, something like that. Maybe go for it, consider going for it, getting the first down. But if you don't go for it, you don't move the ball to the left hash mark, to the other side of the field, where your kicker, because after the game, here's what everybody needs to pick up on. Sean McDermott was asked by one of the reporters after the game. He said, how was your kicker during pregame warmup? How was he during pregame warmup? And guess what? He said, he was kicking it to the right. He was kicking that ball the ball was fading to the right. So he said the ball was fading to the right. Okay. So the coach telling us that he knew from pregame warmup that his kicker was kicking the ball fading to the right. So why in the world, Sean McDermott, why didn't you write that down, keep that note, and when the game was on the line, why didn't you instruct Josh Allen on that 3rd down play, make sure you get the ball to somebody, either you run it or somebody get that ball over to the left hash mark. Instead, they threw an incomplete pass. He runs out the kicking team, and Tyler Bass was kicking from the right hash mark. If Tyler Bass would have been given, you got to give your players a chance to win the game. As Herm Edwards always says, we're here to win the game. Give your team a chance to win the game, Sean McDermott. All you had to do was get the ball to the left hash mark, have your guy kick from the left side, so when he's kicking the ball and that ball starts fading to the right, as he knew from people telling him from pregame warmups, that ball had a much better chance of going through the upright and still fading to the right on the right side, going through the uprights. You would have gave Tyler Bass a better chance to win the game. So Sean McDermott gets discombobulated during the football games. They give him the right information. He just doesn't use the right information when the time comes, because that information was crucial. When the special teams coach telling you your kicker is kicking them, they fading to the right in this direction of the field, you say, oh, okay, they fading to the right. Okay. You should have, in your mind, in that last second of the game, told your guy to get the ball to the left hash mark. get it over to the left hash mark, kick it from the left hash mark. Sean McDermott does not put his team in position to win. And why in the hell is it when Josh Allen plays a great game, and he did. I mean, the game against Kansas City, the game against the Steelers the week before, man, I got to give it this. I have much more respect for Josh Allen in big-time games. He did not turn the football over one time in those 2 games. So that means he's learning. He can focus in. He's careful with the football. He didn't fumble it. He didn't throw the ball away. And this guy leads the league in turnovers, y'all, Josh Allen. He didn't turn the ball over against the Steelers. He didn't turn it over against the Chiefs. But your coach turned it over again because he just can't win big games. He can't put his team in position to win. And what about the defense side of the ball? You put all that money on the defense every year. Most of the money's on the defense. And the defense lets you down year after year after year after year after year. Since 2019, the Bills have been in the playoffs, 4 of the last 5 years or 5 years straight, and they lost because of the defense. Primarily, you think about it, it's been the defense, not the offense. Cause when Josh Allen walked off the field in Kansas City in 2020, the Bills were up by 3 with 13 seconds left. 13 seconds left, y'all. How do you lose in 13 seconds? Man, that's Sean McDermott got to look in the mirror. Hey, you can't blame Leslie Frazier. You can't blame Ken Dorsey. You can't blame anybody else, any other your coaching staff people. You got to look in the mirror. And guess what, man? You're the enemy. You standing in the way of your own team winning a championship, Sean McDermott, because you can't make the critical decisions at the critical time. If you couldn't know that your kicker had to kick from the left hash mark instead of the right hash mark because his ball has been fading throughout practice in that direction, there's something wrong, Sean McDermott. Something's wrong with you. You just can't make it. You can't make in-game adjustments. Andy Reid got you on a string playing games with you. You look good at the beginning. You make great game plans, but then when the game starts, you're messing up. When the adjustments come in the second quarter or the second half, Spagnuolo made different changes. You couldn't make the changes. Andy Reid made changes with the offensive blocking scheme. Joe Turney, one of their best guards, ended up fracturing his shoulder because they kept running that trapping Oliver, and Pacheco was running through the holes. It just shows you it's the difference between winning and losing, and Sean McDermott is the difference in winning and losing in Buffalo, New York. It's all on his lap. He's the reason why the Bills can't make it to the next level. It's not the team. He's had the team. We should be playing. The Bills should be playing tomorrow. But no, it's because Sean McDermott couldn't do what he needed. He couldn't handle his business to make the proper adjustments and the proper decisions late in a football game that would have given the Buffalo Bills an opportunity to win that game. And they should have won that game outright on that last drive. They shouldn't have even had to settle for a field goal. But that's that. We're going to go backspin. We're going to go to Justin Reid, the safety for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's going to tell you what kind of mindset the Kansas City Chiefs have and why they seem to continue to keep winning football games. Let's go to that interview with Justin Reid, safety for the Kansas City Chiefs.
We'll execute what we believe in Coach Spank's game plan to go out and do what he says, knowing that it's going to put us in the best position to win. So we went and did that, executed. Ball was able to fall in our favor a couple of ways, and we're able to come out with a win.
Play inside out.
We try and make it hard to know where pressure is coming from.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I show down and I'm trying to get the protection turned to me so that we can send something on the strong side, and vice versa. Sometimes they show pressure on the strong side so that way it can open it up for me. So we don't care who gets the credit. You know what I mean? So when you have versatility plus unselfishness, you're able to have a defense like we have right now because you're able to put guys in different spots, but we don't mind opening it up for the next man to make the play. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who gets the credit. We just want to win. So you put those two things together, and that's why number 2 defense in the NFL right now.
Nick said there was adjustment.
Out our 3 technique, and they're trying to hit a bunch of edge runs, so we needed to really just set the perimeter on the edge, stop letting them hit the perimeter, and make sure the biggest thing was keeping 17 in the pocket because he just kept scrambling with his legs.
But not great defense. And the confidence that you guys seem to have when it's when the game is on the line.
I mean, huge. I mean that's what defense is. The defense never changes. It doesn't matter if we winning, we losing, up by 3 touchdowns or down by 3 touchdowns. Our job is to get the ball back to the offense in whatever way that we can. So When things start going wrong, we don't fold on each other. That's one of the biggest strengths of our team is that we don't start going out and everybody trying to make a play. We're going to trust in ourselves to do our job. We're going to trust in the man next to him to do his job. And we're going to believe in one another to play team defense, unit defense. You know what I mean? You believe in the game plan, you execute it, good things happen. So we didn't fall over each other, which is one of the best things about this group is that we stick together. We did that.
That's why you guys won the championship.
Yep. You see other teams in that situation start to implode.
Yeah.
You know, then the games get out of whack because, you know, people start getting out of their gap. And we're like, listen, guys, you just got to execute what we know how to do. We just got to be ourselves. Play, do your job and do it with energy and tenacity and violence, and good things are going to happen.
There you have it. Did you hear that? That's Justin Reed, safety for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you see how they believe in Spagnola's defensive play call. When the last time you heard the Buffalo Bills guys, the Ed Olivers, the Micah Hyde, and them say how much they believe in Sean McDermott's defensive adjustments made during the game? You notice Reed said they make adjustments. They believe in the adjustments. They don't point fingers. They go at it. They go and they make plays and they play hard. They play fast. They play violent, and that's why they have been Super Bowl champions. Twice they have won 2 Super Bowls. And the defense is actually playing better than the offense over there for Kansas City right now. I thought that was very interesting what Justin Reed had to say. We're gonna move into Chris Jones. Defensive tackle Chris Jones. Let's hear what Chris Jones had to say about how he swatted the ball down. He swatted Josh Allen passes down a couple of times because this guy's 6'8". People don't realize how tall Chris Jones really is. And man, ask Deion Dawkins what a handful he was last Sunday trying to handle him in that game. Let's hear what Chris Jones had to say.
I think you batted down a ball after the first drive.
Timed it up right. They showed me at the combine 6'5" and 3/4. I'm really 6'6", and I'm really 6'6" and a half. Complete zone.
So for timing that up with that, holding them to a field goal on that drive could be a pretty big deal in the game. I mean, how did you actually manage that play?
Listen, I was in double team. I was the nose actually. And we had Trishawn Warren to 3 tech, and my job was just to collapse the pocket, and if he step up, be in a position to chase it. So, and I seen the ball coming out, and I was just like, you know, gave it a Shaquille O'Neal swap.
What is it about not pointing fingers? How you guys, as a team, how do you keep your younger teammates in check saying, hey, you know?
Because I think everyone take accountability here. We all understand one play don't make or break a game. It's usually multiple plays to make or break a game, right?
Right.
So end of the game, one player drop a ball. It's not just that player fault. Balls are dropped. Balls are dropped in this league, right? Right. There's plays prior to that we could have scored on, and we didn't score. That forced us to be in that moment to have to catch this ball in that particular time. So we kind of understand that as a team. As we don't point fingers. We all understand that there's more plays to be made. And that's how we're just so dependable on each other.
There you have it. That's Chris Jones. You notice, man, the way he swatted that ball down, like he said, it's like Shaquille O'Neal. He's real funny, man. That guy he could definitely have a podcast or a comedy show. He has a lot of jokes. Real nice, good-natured guy. But he was saying also how they force the issue and also make sure their teammates all stick together and stick to the Steve Spagnuolo. He could definitely go in the Hall of Fame as a very creative defensive coordinator. He makes adjustments, and the Bills to me should have just kept going with the bubble screen, using that bubble screen instead of. But Josh Allen, when the pressure gets on him at the end of the game, he went deep. It's hard. They know that he just can't resist throwing that deep ball, and he should have resisted it to throw it short to pick up those 9 yards and keep the drive alive. And you hear how confident the Chiefs were talking and how they feel about their team. Those guys stick together. They work hard. They fill it in their gaps the whole 9 yards. They had gap integrity. They didn't allow the Bills to run the ball as much in the second half. And that's called believing in your defense, believing in the adjustment calls, and making the moves. And speaking of adjustments, let's next up interview is with Patrick Mahomes. We're going to listen to a little bit of this Patrick Mahomes tell us how he gets himself on the offensive side of the ball, how he keeps his team together and taking them to the next level. Let's go, Backspin. Let's go with Patrick Mahomes.
It's you versus them. It's you versus everybody in the stadium. And you have to come together as a team, and the guys do that. And you saw that in the game today. I think I spoke well. Through 3 quarters offensively, we were moving the ball up and down the field, but we got shut down in the 4th quarter. And I went over to the defense, and I told them, I said, y'all shut it down, and we'll win this football game. We'll go to the AFC Championship game. And they did. And they did go into that 4th quarter, and I told them next time I'll try to tell them earlier. If I can tell them like halftime to do that, and they're going to shut them out from there. No, but it was a team win, and that's what you need in playoffs.
Hey, Patrick.
Are all these guys. And I know how much fire they have, and they're not going to give up to the very end. And you appreciate that stuff. I mean, these are the games I watched growing up. The great quarterbacks going up against each other with great football teams, great organizations. And that's what I remember. So hopefully I'm making, like I said earlier in the week, hopefully we're making those memories for other little kids that are growing up watching football.
Sure. Combined for a record, surpassing Brady and Gronk. How special is that? What was the plan, I guess, for Travis in this game?
Yeah, no, we always emphasize getting the ball to Travis, but passing anything that has Brady and Gronk in it is special because those are 2 of the greatest players. I mean, Tom is the greatest player and one of the greatest tight ends of all time, and so those are great and postseason players. And so to be mentioned that and passing that, you appreciate that. It speaks to Travis and his word, being able to go out there and make plays in big games. But we always emphasize getting Travis the ball. He did a great job of getting himself open, and then once they started putting a lot of attention on him, other guys like MBS make plays. And so that's what it takes. It takes everybody. Everybody's got to make plays in order to win playoff games. Okay. Here, but not with the fans. I knew the fans were going to be rowdy, going to be hostile, but you appreciate the greatness of organizations and going in week in and week out and packing the stadium and being fans. I mean, that's what it's all about. And so I obviously love playing at Arrowhead, but it is cool to go on the road in a playoff game and be able to come out to win. I mean, that's what you try to do every single season. While you work in OTAs, while you work out in the off season and come and grind every single day. And we know it's going to be a great challenge, but our goal is to get to the Super Bowl, and that's going to take everything we have this next week. This is a great Ravens team that we're going up against.
There you have it. That was Patrick Mahomes. You hear Patrick Mahomes said it best. He plays hard. He goes over and talks to his defensive players and talks to them and say, hey, man, he doesn't do it in the first half because, obviously they get stale after a while telling your players every week they say, oh, here come Patrick. But no, he comes over in critical parts of the game. He picks his spots and lets his defense know, hey, guys, come up with a stop. Give us the ball. I'll make sure we win this game. We'll make sure we win this game on the offensive side of the football. And that's a serious champion. And like he said, they go into a stadium, it's us against them. They fans, the fans are coming to see that team win. And that's what they did in Buffalo. They came in, pulled the game out, knew how to win, stuck to their course. And as Mahomes was saying, it's going to be a much tougher battle this week coming up in when they come to Baltimore to play the Ravens tomorrow afternoon. And one thing that Josh Allen, the only problem Josh Allen has, y'all, the only problem with Josh Allen is he's just not Patrick Mahomes. That's his only problem. Josh Allen's a good football player. With the right coach, I can take it. With Sean McDermott, I just can't see them winning playoff games, critical playoff games. They can win some playoff games, but when you get to that most critical game, hell, man, if you can't win in 13 seconds, how did we expect them to win the game? When you have a coach that can't even win a game when you get the lead with 13 seconds left in a playoff game, a divisional round a playoff game, a critical football game, I just don't see it happening with Sean McDermott. This could be a perfect time like Tampa Bay did. They released Tony Dungy of his job, brought in John Gruden. I didn't like the move, but John Gruden came in and won the Super Bowl with basically the same players the following next year because Gruden knew how to make critical decisions in the playoffs. And then Tony Dungy later went on to Indianapolis. He learned from his mistakes, built the team in Indianapolis. They won the Super Bowl. So Tony Dungy, in the long run, it ended up with a happy ending for Tony Dungy winning. Will it end up with a happy ending for Sean McDermott? Sean McDermott has blown a lot of games with his defense. You put all the money on the defense, and what you got to show for it? The defense making mistakes at the end of the game. So that's critical. We'll see how it progresses down the road with Sean McDermott for next year. And before we'll move on from this one, but the Bills have a Sean McDermott problem. They don't have a player problem. They will now that they have the cap situation. We'll see what happens. But right now, it's more a Sean McDermott problem than it was a player's problem this past season in Buffalo. And we're going to open the phone lines later on, give you a chance to call in 595-1055. But coming up next, we got a guest coming in the studio. But first, award-winning Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency, auto, home, health, and life insurance, 1038 Lyle Avenue, 511 Bean Road, Suite B. Give her a call, area code 585-360-0094. Give Miriam Rivera. She's award-winning. She saved me and my family a lot of money. I guarantee you she can save you a lot of money as well, right? So give Miriam Rivera Farmers Insurance Agency. Give her a call or at 360-0094, area code 585, or 1038 Lyle Avenue, or 511 Bean Road. She'll get you right and get things going for you and putting you in the right direction for your auto, home, health, and life insurance policies. And next up, we have WROC TV Channel 8 sportscaster Carl Jones is back in the studio on the Real Deal Sports Show. Carl, welcome back to Real Deal Sports Show. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a minute, man. I really appreciate it. How you doing?
Good. And hey, I know you had a quick turnaround from the 11 o'clock news last night into this morning. But I just want to get your take of the Bills game last week. You were there at the stadium. What from a defensive back? You were a star defensive back at Syracuse University. Can you let us know what did you see? What transpired?
Yeah, first and foremost, the Bills were banged up going into the game, obviously. Banged up in a lot of places at linebacker, safety, corner. And it was noticeable early on that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid were trying to make an emphasis to put poor A.J. Klein in the crosshairs on a lot of players. Obviously, A.J. Klein was on his couch a few weeks prior, Christmas Day, watching the game just like you and I, about to go on vacation to Key West, I believe. But he did an admirable job the week prior. Unfortunately, when you go up against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're going to figure out ways to take advantage of you. I know on the Travis Kelce, the first touchdown, Dane Jackson, we believe here, when you watch it back, had like a little bit of a coverage bust there. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer didn't play their best games. I wouldn't say they missed some key tackles that you would say are uncharacteristic for players of their caliber. So they didn't play great. I don't think it was their worst game ever. But when the margins for error are so thin in the playoffs, I don't think the secondary played up to the winning pedigree that they played with in the past.
Exactly. Any chance the Bills fire McDermott and hire Bill Belichick, Carl?
The first one, that can maybe happen next year, I can say. The second one, I can say without a doubt, they're not bringing in Bill Belichick at age, whatever he is. I know he's in his 70s into Orchard Park. It is interesting to see how the hiring cycle has worked out for Bill Belichick. I know we all kind of figured, like, oh, Belichick's going to get souped up quick, and then about a week ago, he was getting multiple interviews for the Atlanta jobs. We're like, oh, okay, Belichick in the ATL, that's kind of unique. Never really thought about that. Belichick roaming the streets of Atlanta, right? But nonetheless, they hired the other brother, Raheem Morris, who's going to hopefully do a fantastic job down there. So it's looked like they're playing musical chairs and Belichick's going to be left out, right? So
yes,
for the flaws that McDermott has, don't think they're going to bring in Belichick to kind of mask those up.
Yeah, because that's one thing with Belichick. He has a lot of no-name defensive guys that plays his system, and they seem to play it very well. He seems to beat McDermott at least once a year. That's another reason. I said, well, dog, he only won 3 or 4 games at the most this year, and the year before that. Since Brady's gone, he's only won 2 to 4 games, maybe 5 games in the season. But every year, one of those games is against Sean McDermott. So I'm like, if you can beat him with the guys you got, and people know your team's not that good, well, put him with a better team and see what he can do with that better squad. Because I thought A.J. Klein should have been put on the bench, and they should have brought Jamarcus Ingram up or somebody else with some speed and went without the linebacker and went more with a with more safeties, bigger safeties, kind of like what the Cowboys were playing this year. Go and cover, at least do the one thing, cover Travis Kelce. Don't let anybody else can beat you, Rice, some of those other guys, but don't let Travis Kelce beat you. Well, one time he was wide open. He was by himself on one of the touchdowns. Carl, how do you let Travis Kelce beat you?
Yeah, you every single play you leave the defensive huddle and you're supposed to know where 87 is. Speaking of Travis Kelce, I think on that play, once again, I'm not in their huddle, so I'm not going to speak directly for them. But I think that was a coverage bust by Dane Jackson, and you got to know where 87 is, point blank, period. I mean, every single play. All right, what's my responsibility? That's first. Secondly, this concept we call on defense called KYP, know your personnel. You got to know where 87 is at all times when he's on the field, especially if he's right in front of you. So you got to figure out where 87 is. And that there is no reasonable explanation for Travis Kelce to be scot-free in a playoff game. Like, there's just no – I think that's probably the most open he's been in, like, 3 years or something like that. So that there's no explanation for that, especially in a game of that magnitude.
Yeah, exactly. With that, it's no way this guy should be open. And when they played in Kansas City, it was interesting. They had Rasul Douglas was on him a little bit too in that Kansas City game. I was at that one earlier in the season, and I thought they might have put Rasul Douglas on him, or he's bigger. He can stay with him and move somebody else over to the corner spot, Khair Elam or somebody over there, make the changes. But you definitely shouldn't have. Why in the world would A.J. Klein be on the field and play as much as he played in that game is beyond me. And that's what I mean about McDermott. He doesn't seem to make the in-game adjustments is his biggest problem. His in-game adjustments are horrible. And I don't know if you heard my take earlier in the show where I thought if you're going to go for the field goal, why not move the ball to the left hash mark and have them kick it from the left hash mark so that ball could fade to the right? Because he acknowledged in the postgame, Sean McDermott, that he was told that his kicker was fading the ball to the right during pregame warmups, going in that direction. Why wouldn't he move the ball to the left hash mark, Carl?
Kind of tough with it's kind of tough with that much time remaining to try to because I mean the two plays, because I know on first down I believe they tried to run the ball and they got stuffed, and then obviously the one play that Khalil Shakir missed that we've been talking about over the past 4 or 5 days at this point, an incompletion, and then on the next play I think they're just trying to get the first down, and unfortunately Josh just misses Dalton Kincaid right in front of him over the middle of the field. So, I mean, at that point, it's difficult to tell Josh, like, hey, ignore the field goal, try to spot the ball. So it was tough. I do think Josh deserves some blame for his lack of execution there down the stretch. Like, just didn't do his 111th. And I think he played a phenomenal game, to be honest. But
yeah,
unfortunately, the two plays that are going to stick in our mind are the miss to Shakir, where he probably should have stepped up and had a cleaner and reset his feet so he wasn't trying to throw it as Chris Jones was barreling down his side. But I didn't play quarterback, so it's much easier for me to say that from my couch. And then the next play hit Dalton Kincaid, who was over right in front of him. But once again, I ain't played quarterback since 8th grade, and when I was playing, I was the best athlete on the field at all times, so I felt a little confident when I was throwing the ball. So,
okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot easier in 8th grade, right? When you much bigger than everybody. So that's me from my couch speaking a little bit. But regardless, though, he played a phenomenal game. But that last 2-play sequence from the Bills wasn't executed great, and 17 deserves some, not all, some blame in that.
Yeah, because it seems like the game, to me, the last couple years, and even definitely the 13-second game on, Josh Allen really, he left the field with the team winning in that game. How can you lose with 13 seconds? I know, to me, if they would have won that game and went on against Cincinnati, they could have. Now that we know how Cincinnati was playing, Cincinnati could have beat Buffalo that year, but Buffalo had all their players. Everybody was healthy, pretty much healthy that season. And that game against Kansas City was such a momentum builder. I think they probably would have beaten Cincinnati in Buffalo that following week and propelled the Bills to the Super Bowl in that season. But it didn't happen. And it seems like McDermott forces Josh Allen to be back on the field late in the game, and he just can't. He reverted back to Josh Ball those last two plays. The Khalil Shakir one was fine because he did break open, and if he was able to get that ball on a rope to him, he could have caught that for a touchdown. So I had no problem on that play. But the next play, you gotta pick up yards. You can't look. He's looking down the field, man. Look right across. Just hit Diggs going across the middle. Throw a 2-yard pass. Pick up 5-6 yards, and that's how the Bills were operating early in the game. But it seems like late in the game, Josh Allen, when the pressure's on him, that where he has to score, has to do something, he forgets about the short stuff, and he just ignored. He looked, man, you could just see his head was looking the other way when Diggs was crossing right in front of him. I'm like, Diggs. Everybody in the press box was like, Diggs is right there, man. Hit Diggs. Everybody hollering Diggs, man. And it was like, oh man, Diggs right there, hit him on that short 2-yard pass and let him go with the ball. And he probably could have picked up, if not, put it in a situation where you could have went for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 on that particular play. So it to me, as I said earlier, Sean McDermott puts his players in not the best position to win. You were on the field. What you take on that? That to me, that's McDermott's biggest problem. Not putting his team in an opportunity in the best position to win the football game.
So I'm going to start by giving McDermott his flowers, but also giving him his just due criticism as well. I do think throughout most of this season, once you lose Trey White, Matt Milano, and then Daquan Jones, who eventually came back, but he was gone for the majority of the year. Once they lost those guys around week 4 and 5, the defense struggled for like 5-6 weeks. I mean, they didn't have the bodies, and McDermott and the defense really didn't figure out a way to get them playing well with that new group. I thought they rallied really well like the past 8 weeks of the season. I really did. I think so. I want to give McDermott his flowers for putting together a unit with duct tape and Elmer's glue and making out a way to make that unit play well. However, for the 4th year in a row, I do think there's something to be said about how his defense performed in the playoffs. You can speak on the first AFC championship year where they lost to the Chiefs. I believe they gave up 38 points in that game. Actually, I have to pull it up right here. Yeah, they gave up 38 points in that game. You can say, you know what? They weren't supposed to be there that year. We'll give you a pass for that one. The following year was 13 seconds where they gave up 42. Okay, that wasn't great. And then also, I think the week after that, the Chiefs they didn't touch 30 against the Bengals. And then obviously you give up 27 at home against the Bengals last year. And then you lose this week to a Kansas City Chiefs team's offense that was anemic most of the year. So I do think for how well we can prop up McDermott's defenses in the regular season, for some odd reason, it's not translating to these one-game playoffs, these situations where it's win or go home. Because you can say, oh, they're going up against Patrick Mahomes, but the Bengals have found a way to fight back in those games. Yeah. It's not like the Bengals are giving up 30, 40 points against the Chiefs. I know they lost once to the Chiefs, but that game, I believe, was 24-20. Like, 21-17. Like, these weren't shootouts, right? So, yeah, you can say last week was about injuries, and I think there is some valid excuse to that, quotation marks. But other teams have figured out a way. I know this coming Sunday, the Ravens are going to figure out a way to limit the big bad Patrick Mahomes, right? Right. I mean, shoot, the Dolphins the week prior, who you want to talk about injuries, boy, they had some dudes on their team that, once again, Thanksgiving, they was watching it with me and you, George. Christmas, they was damn sure watching it with you and I, and they was still out there playing. So something to be said about how his defenses are performing in the playoffs, because it's not like the unit that we've seen in the regular season.
Absolutely. The Cincinnati Bengals, who you brought up, their defense, you only can name a couple of Hendrickson, and they're not household name guys in Cincinnati. When they lost to safety Jesse Bates, he left out. You could see it was a big drop off for a while, but they got together and they played better, and they still were able to win. So you got to go with who you have. I mean, Milano's been gone. Yeah, you lost Trey White. We haven't had Trey White in 2-3 years, really,
right?
Of his contribution to the team. So you can't even really say Trey White because he really hasn't been a part of the team the last couple of years. But the guys you put out there, you got to get bigger. You got to wonder, why did you get rid of Tremaine Edmonds? I can see Tremaine Edmonds getting the contract, and you still had Bernard on a rookie contract. You could have inserted Bernard on the outside or something. You drafted Dorian Williams, who looks like going to be a really good player. He's really fast. He's quick to the ball. He's just young. He made a couple of mistakes in that game. Hey, young guys do that in big games. They make mistakes. But why would you get rid of a big guy like Edmonds who could cover deep? Why would you go to almost a midget out there on the field and you wonder why the guy gets hurt all the time? The guy's going to, guess what? He's going to get hurt next year because he gets run over by big physical running back because he's too small for the position. You need to use Bernard more like Milano on the out. You could actually move Milano, is much more bigger in the middle and playing the middle and moving Bernard to the outside if you're going to do something like that. But this guy, Bernard, to me, he can't play the middle due to his size. I mean, he has the heart, the desire. He gets to the ball. He makes some good plays. But in the long run, he's not going to be there for you because he's going to be hurt. He's just too small to play. Aren't you bigger than him, Carl? You're bigger than Bernard, right? It looks like it.
If I was, I'd still be playing. I'd still be strapping him up. But I ain't quite Bernard's size. But no, I do think there is some validity to that point. Because I know when people say, oh, the game is getting faster and going side to side, you're right to a certain extent. A player of Terrell Bernard's stature wouldn't have even been on the roster 10, 15, 20 years ago, right?
Right.
But his speed is an asset, but it also comes back to hurt him at times when they do play that thumper style. Like I know the Chiefs were playing on Sunday. Because the Chiefs don't have the explosive playmakers that they used to have, they were like, you know what, we're going to line up on the field in 12 and 13 personnel with 2 and 3 tight ends and run right at you. And I don't know how effective it would have been for Bernard to be out there in those situations because although he is elusive at times, getting around blocks, at times these linemen would get their hands on him and it's over with. So it does help to have a bigger guy like Tremaine Edmonds who, you know, can get his hands can get the lineman's hands off of him. And you're right. I advise everyone to know what traditional backer play looks like. Go these games this Sunday. The Ravens probably have the second best duo in the league. The 49ers have the best duo in the league. Yep. The Lions have some young bucks who can ball. And the Chiefs, it depends on if Willie Gay plays or not because he left the game early last week against the Bills. But Nick Bolton is a really good young linebacker. Willie Gay is a really good young linebacker. Drew Tranquil, number 23 from the Chiefs. He can run sideline to sideline. That's what big backers look like in this league, and you can really feel the impact that they make.
Absolutely. I'm glad you made that comment because you're right. That's what backers should look like in the National Football League. This is not Pop Warner or college football anymore. You can't put small cats out. You can't put a guy that's almost a midget out there to the sides of the team, of the players he's going against. You can't put him out there and expect him to survive 18, 17 game season and then 3 or 4 games more in the playoffs. It's no way, no how. You can't do it. You can't do it. Hey, we're going to go to our picks, but before we go to our picks, another sponsor, Challenger Community News, Western New York's largest weekly African-American newspaper, thechallengernews.com. Check us out weekly. If you have articles, send them to editorial at thechallengernews.com. Editor, EIDITOR, editor at thechallengernews.com, or editorial, EDITORIAL at thechallengernews.com. Send in your articles in the whole 9 yards. And we will be broadcasting live from Mandalay Bay Hotel and Convention Center from Las Vegas, Nevada, February 5th through February 9th. Come on out and join the Rad Man and the crew. We'll be out there. J-GILLZ and everybody will be joining us out in Las Vegas, Nevada. On Stage Plus production company will be producing it again. We're going to have a slew of athletes, celebrities, the whole 9 yards. Lee Steinberg, people have already contacted us. Lee Steinberg will bringing his people in again this year. And right now it looks like Usher will be on Radio Row on Thursday, coming around to different tables. Hopefully we'll get a chance to get a little sound bite or get a chance to hear what Usher has to say on Thursday. So check us out. And at 4 o'clock each day during that week on the Beat 105.5, you'll hear live updates. You'll hear our interviews from the various players from the 2 teams that will be playing in Super Bowl 58. You'll be hearing their comments at 4 p.m. each day right here on WLGZ HD2, The Beat 105.5. Check us out live from Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino Resorts. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but hey, we're going to get it in, and we look forward to it in 2 weeks, broadcasting live the entire week. And, of course, myself and the Mighty Oba will be attending the game on Sunday, February 11th. So we look forward to another fine contest out there at Allegiant Stadium out in Las Vegas, Nevada. So we'll get ready. Stay tuned. You're going to have a lot of opportunity. If you want to advertise the whole 9 yards, check us out the week of February 5th through February 9th live. And then on game day, you'll see a pregame show and the postgame show live from Las Vegas, Nevada, before and after the game. It's going to be a full week happening there, so check us out. And now let's go to our picks. Carl, who do you see in the first game? Ravens, Chiefs. How do you see this game playing out?
Yeah, man. I mean, what the Chiefs did last week was admirable. The defense has been lights out all year, point blank period. There's no way to fully grasp what they've done all year on that defensive side of the ball, especially with their DBs. You know me. I always look for the defensive backs first, and they fly around. And you saw it last week against the Ravens. I mean, against the Bills, excuse me. However, this Ravens team just feels different when I watch them. It's bone crushing, right? And it's that like you watch them run to the ball, and you go, I want to get out there. Like, no, I actually don't. I actually, me personally, I don't. I don't want to get back out there. Like, I actually like my brain and all that good type of stuff. But regardless.
You sure, Carl? It seems like you itching to get out there a little bit.
No.
Certain teams, 40% of you might want to get out there, Carl.
No. Certain teams for sure, but the way the Ravens play football, no, I'm not trying to live in the ice bath the next day. I ain't trying to do all that. But okay. Having said all that, though, there was a stat that I heard earlier this week on TV, and it kind of encapsulated how well they played. They've won 9 games this year by 2 touchdowns versus teams with winning records. That is absurd when it comes to NFL football. They're not just beating the good teams. They're running them off the field. I mean, we saw what they did to the Niners, where they were damn near up 21 for majority of that game. They beat the Lions by 30, if I'm not mistaken. The only game I can think of that was close this year was the overtime win they had over the Rams, where, you know what, Matt Stafford, when he's hot, he's hot. You know, so I mean, ain't no shame in letting Matt Stafford put up 30 ball. Regardless, this Ravens team looks different, and it'll be cool to see Lamar Jackson get his just due. And like I told you last time I probably came on, I'm happy he's doing it to other grown men, not just like how he did us in college. So I'm happy he's doing other grown men who get paid to play this game the same way he did us, I guess, 8 years ago at this point.
There you go. And I for the gambling side, I'm looking at the injury. Pacheco is hurt again. Well, he just came and played last week. I'm sure he had a little help with a shot up a little bit to help him play. His foot and stuff is, of course, a day or two later when that wears off, you know, you really feel the pain. So he's in the boot all week. If Pacheco is able to give them a little bit of offense, Mahomes, Joe Turney fractured his shoulder against the Bills. These games are tough when you out there playing. And you giving it, and it's all out games. Everybody's playing to win. Nobody wants to go home losing. The Chiefs just lost guys, and I think Tony would be a big loss for them on the offensive line. It just reminds me of that Tampa Bay game, that Super Bowl game against Tampa, when Mahomes' ankle was hurt, when he was sprained. A couple of his linemen were out in that game again. It just seemed like it's so much against their defense right now, against their offensive suit, that Mahomes, man, he knows he's going to have to run around, make some plays, extend plays, and make some things happen. But I really do think that the Chiefs can keep this game close. Right now, the spread done gone up to 4+4. I know that thing is gnawing at me too, Carl, what you said about them winning 9 games against good teams of 14 points or more. And I remember some of those games, and I couldn't believe that they had blown out some of those teams like they did to blow them out. So I'm betting, man, I'm taking the 4 points right now with the Chiefs. I don't see the Chiefs winning, but I'm thinking that Mahomes and the way that defense, you heard that Chris Jones and those guys talking on defense, I think Spagnuolo will dial up something to at least contain them a little bit, contain the Ravens. The Ravens will be sky high to start the game, But I think once they cool down a little bit, Spagnuolo make some adjustments. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. I'm taking the 4 points with the Chiefs, but I'm thinking the Ravens will win this game. We'll find a way to win this game for sure. Coming out, and the next, and I take the under. I don't see 44.5 points. That's boy, I don't know. That's dicey. I gotta look at the weather, see if it's gonna be raining or anything out there tomorrow. I think the under right now. I'm liking the under in that game. So let's move on to the later game, Detroit at San Francisco, that I seem to have a better feel for. But Carl, go ahead with your pick on this Detroit at San Francisco.
Before I get to this game, talking about motivation, Chris Jones got $1 million in his contract if they win that game to go to the Super Bowl. So he got a lot of motivation to take down the Ravens tomorrow. But to the final game, the Lions and 49ers. Love what Detroit's done this year. I really do. Got a best friend who plays in the secondary of Fasu Melifawu, and he's played really, really good down the stretch for them. I just don't know about Jared Goff on the road in the playoffs. He's looked really good in the dome. The 49ers offense, when they're clicking, they're clicking. Debo looked like he's going to play. They said the shoulder thing wasn't as bad as what they thought it was. While the Lions offense is really good, I just don't know how many stops they can get on defense. And I think that's where this game is going to come down to. Not Brock Purdy isn't like, he's obviously clearly not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he did answer one or two questions with his terrible play to start the game and then having a game-winning drive to end it. I think that the Niners pull it out. Now, 7.5 points is a lot. That's a lot in a playoff game. Don't care who you up against. So the spread is a little dicier, but I do think the 49ers pull up a lot. Like, I do think they get to about 30. I think the Lions defense is a significantly weaker unit out of all the four defenses in the championship weekend. Shanahan will figure out those weaknesses. Like I said, have them in the crosshairs and keep peppering them the whole game, and the Lions fall short.
There you go. Take the over. I like the over. I've been winning with the over for the last 2 years with betting Lions games. Majority of their games tend to go over because their defense is suspect. They do give up a lot of points. I take the can't say, but I like the 49ers winning this game. That 7.5 is an awful lot. I think Detroit, it's going to be close, like 31-24. So take the 7.5 points if you get an opportunity to take them, and take the over. Make it a double your parlay with over -7 and plus 7.5 for Detroit. I'm much more confident on that one than I am on the other game. And as you can see, I have the Chiefs versus 49ers. I think we might have a chance to see that repeat from the 2020 Super Bowl. And once again, we salute Kobe Bryant as yesterday was the anniversary of his death 4 years ago, before this Super Bowl game took place, the 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs. So don't be surprised if don't be totally shocked if you see a repeat of this series. And Carl, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
No, thank you. I really appreciate you for having me on, man. It's been a long time coming, doing great things here. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
And people can follow you where?
Yeah, you can follow me on social media, Jones11_. A lot of breaking down defensive back film from the Bills. Heck, even other teams this weekend. We'll see how much time I got. But regardless, Jones11_ on Twitter, or I guess what they call it, X these days. You can find me over there.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on. We'll definitely have you back on soon. Backspin.
Yes,
back.
Sir.
Hey, they celebrated, I guess they wanted to honor, not celebrate, but honor Kobe Bryant with the Luka putting 73 up, and then you had the Devin Booker with 62. Man, they honored Kobe very well last night in the National Basketball Association.
As they should have, man. I mean, Kobe is definitely a legend. When I got the news, it was crazy. I don't want to get into it because we don't got much time, but it was just one of those sad things that you really couldn't believe when you seen it. I mean, I think everybody was in disbelief when they first got the news. Yeah. And to see it all happen, and then to realize he had his daughter on a helicopter with him, and the other 7 people, was it 7?
7 or 8?
7 or not. What
Nice.
was it, 11 total on the? I believe it was 11 total
I think you're right.
on the including the pilot. So yeah, man, just tragedy, and I can't believe it's 4 years already, man. But shout out to the guys who put up 70. Yeah, I mean, was that Giannis? Put up 70 points. Put up 70 points on them. So you know, it's only right they represent for Kobe like that.
And I never thought Embiid would put 60-some points on anybody, man.
Yeah,
man.
I know. Yeah.
How you let that man shoot like that, man?
Hey, Kobe was with him. The spirit was with him.
All week long. All week long.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you. Look forward to catching you next week. And remember, everybody, continue to be a good sport.
Yes, sir. Real Deal Sports Show right here on the Beat 105.5. Shout out to the fanatic J-GILLZ out there. And, of course, the #1 Rad Man. I see you, man. Y'all keep it right where you need it. Rock City, the Back in Time Mix Show is on deck right here on the Beat.